Essa é a pessoa.
Eu quero buraco na boca. No teu caso, é o que eu mais quero resolver.
Tem matador me procurando? É isso que você tá dizendo?
Tem.
Você acha que você devia estar aqui mesmo?
Eu vou levar meu filho.
Olha, é uma sacanagem, um grau.
Agora você tem que estar sexta-feira cedinho lá.
Que ele é Armando.
Não. O nome dele é Marcelo.
Armando? Armando?
Eu, se fosse você, me escafedia. É por isso que tem que defender o que tem ainda. Tu e o meu neto.
Você não sabe com quem você tá se metendo, rapaz.
Homem dirá que Brasil melhor, com menos pirraça.
Desse cara. Eu matava ele com um martelo.
Tu anda armado?
Não, mas eu sei usar um martelo.
بالاخره گیرش آوردم.
آدم ربایی جرم کمی نیست، اونم یه مأمور اطلاعاتی. اقبال پا قشنگه یادت اومد؟
مریض! خدا تعالی اسمش پوشم هم نخورده.
شما ببینی خودشه یا نه؟
فکر نمی‌کردم خودتو اینجوری اسیر بکنی. ببین ما قاتل نیستیم.
مطمئنی خودشه؟
نه.
که پاقو را زر آورده اینجا.
5 سال صبح تا شب تو خواب و بیداری دارم با چشم بسته دست میکشم رو پاش. ماشین چه خبره؟
آقا چیز خاصی نداره.
حالا که مسئله شخصی نداریم پس همتون بدونید این کثافت امروز باید حرف بزنه.
هر چقدر جلو سر بری بیشتر هم فرو میری. آخرش همتون هم غرق میشیم.
من خودم زن و بچه دارم، میفهمم چی داری میگی.
ببین با من چیکار کردی که صفت آشغال.
حالا میخوای چیکار کنی؟
Why didn't you want to do the role? He wanted you to do it.
I can't work with him. We can't really talk. My father is a very difficult person.
Du kan ikke bare late som han ikke er i byen, kan du det?
Hva prøve? Er det han?
I wish that I knew what I know now. When I was younger.
Hvordan går det med filmen, da? Hvordan er det å jobbe med Rachel Kemp?
Det är på tiden att vi sätter oss ner och pratar, du och jag. Är inte det?
Jeg synes kanskje det er litt vanskelig, Anna.
Men jag vet att det har varit svårt för dig. Jag känner igen mig i det.
leve med en så bra person med den oppveksten vår.
Ni två är ju det bästa som har hänt mig.
Best som har skjedd deg? Skulle vært der litt mer, da.
You know this girl? Es mi hija. Hace 5 meses que no sabemos nada de ella.
Hay otra fiesta en el desierto. A lo mejor estará por ahí. Muy bien.
¿Nos estáis siguiendo? Yo creo que tú no has entendido dónde te está metiendo, ¿eh? Si hay un problema, ¿qué vamos a hacer?
No nos queda otra.
¿No echas de menos a tu antigua familia?
No mucho. Me gusta más mi familia de ahora.
Eso es el desierto.
لكن انت تغطيه وما تحاول ما تنزفيش يعني حاولي انك تسكري الجو.
تمام السيارة جاية.
الو طوارئ الهلال الاحمر رام الله الضفه الغربيه عمر معك تفضل. الو شو اسمك انت؟
كنا دم أمامك فيني ماما غيرت حالي
مهدي احتمال احتاج سيارة اسعاف.
عمر حبيبي احنا مجبورين نأمن له مسلك آمن.
اذا ما فيش معها وقت.
انت فقدت انت معي
شايف هدول يا شاب؟ خسرناهم كلهم. 8 دقايق ممكن تكلفهم حياتهم إذا ما عملناش التنسيق وعمارة.
They are shooting at a car with a little girl inside. Can you imagine that? So do something. انت في التمهيدي؟ هند انا جايين ناخدك احنا.
كل دم أمامك فيني أنا بكون موجودة عند
بس لسه في فضا، لسه معنا وقت.
So here you have it, the very, very best of film from around the world, gathered here to talk to us together. Thank you so much for being here. Some of you have come from very far, And some of you have very far to go home, and some of you, I don't know, we're going to ask about whether you're going to go home. I think, when we look at the aggregate of these incredible pieces of work, they touch on many similar themes, it seems to me, and I just wrote down a few of them: authoritarianism, of course, morality, betrayal, memory, family. These are all universal themes that touch all of us. So we're going to talk about all of the films. Let me just start with Jafar Panahi, whose film won the Palme d'Or, of course, this summer. I'll say this summer at the Cannes Film Festival, and who's nominated in the Oscars not just for Best International Feature, but also for Best Original Screenplay, and who has such a unique story because he made this film in secret, as has been written about quite a bit, and who made the film despite being banned from filmmaking in his native country of Iran. And so I just want to start with asking you how you're feeling right now as your country is being riven by an uprising from the streets and a brutal suppression by the government, which is, of course, directly related to the themes that you're talking about, some of the themes you're talking about in It Was Just an Accident. And thank you for translating all that.
سلام عرض میکنم خدمتتون و خوشحالم که تو این جمع هستم.
Hello everyone, I'm happy to be here.
خب منم مثل همه مردم ایران توی یک شوک هستم، توی عزا هستم.
Like all the people of Iran, I am also in shock and in mourning.
تو ایران امروز دیگه کسی از کسی نمیپرسه حالت خوبه، چون حس میشه سوال بی‌موردیه.
In Iran these days, no one really asks anyone how they're doing because it seems like stating the obvious.
قتل عام وحشتناکی صورت گرفته و تو این قتل عام بسیاری از مردم، ده‌ها هزار نفر کشته شدن.
A horrific massacre has happened and tens of thousands of people have been killed.
فقط یه موردشو بگم که پریروز اطلاع دادن که 200 کودک، اسم 200 کودک اومده که کشته شده. اینا قطعیه، به اضافه اینکه تعداد زیادی از همین کودکان که دانش آموزان بودن هنوز مفقودن، معلوم نیست تو کجا هستن، زندان هستن یا کجا هستن.
Just one example is a list of 200 kids under the age of 18 that just was published a few days ago. These are only the kids that we know about, whose identities are known. It does not include kids who have been disappeared. It does not include kids who have been to jail or whose whereabouts are unknown.
حالا واقعا تو ایران همه چیز دیگه به حاشیه رفته. هیچکس اسکار رو دنبال نمی‌کنه، هیچ کسی دیگری دنبال نمی‌کنه، همه در اون فضا هستن.
In Iran, everything else is now at the periphery. No one is really following the news of the Oscars or any other cultural news. Everyone is still in a state of shock.
حالا ما از چند ماه پیش کمپین رو شروع کردیم و مجبور بودم اینجا باشم و ترجیح میدادم اونجا باشم.
We started campaigning for this film a few months ago and I have to be here, but I really do prefer that I was there.
نمیدونم دیگه چه حسی باید داشته باشم.
I don't know what other feeling to have.
اما وقتی به فیلم نگاه میکنم و به اون چه که اتفاق افتاده، اتفاقا فکر میکنم این فیلم سند خیلی خوبیه.
But when I compare the film to what has just happened, I think that this film is a very good document, in fact.
سند خوبی از این بابت هست که تو فیلم ما سعی کردیم بحث خشونت پرهیزی رو مطرح کنیم.
It's a good document testifying to the fact that we were talking about non-violence in the film.
و مردم ایران واقعا خشونت پرهیز هستن.
And it shows that the people of Iran are in fact nonviolent.
ولی این حکومت هستش که سعی میکنه همه چی رو به خشونت بکشه.
But it is this government that tries to push everything towards violence.
همین که 200 دانش آموز فوت کردن، کشته شدن و تعدادی مفقود الاثرن، همینا نشون میده که خانواده رفته بوده تظاهرات، یعنی پدر، مادر، بچه، حتی کسی که توی کالسکه بوده بردنش تظاهرات، یعنی اصلا روحیه خشونت درشون نبوده.
Just that there were 200 kids under the age of 18 who were killed shows that people went to protests as families, spouses, families, children, even babies in strollers. They went together and they did not go to commit acts of violence.
من توی فیلم یه صحنه‌ای هستش که وقتی خانواده بازجو که اینها گرفتنش میخوان حالا چه بلایی سرش بیارن نمیدونیم، وقتی خانواده اینو میبرن بیمارستان میدیدم بعضی تماشاگرها میخندیدن.
There is a scene in the film in which the group of friends are taking the family of the interrogator to the hospital. And when I was watching this film with some audience members, I saw that people did laugh.
یه دفعه من از یکی از دوستان پرسیدم آخه این که صحنه خنده‌دار نیست چرا میخندن؟
I once asked one of my friends why people laugh because this is not funny.
بعد گفتن که خب خنده‌دار دیگه، اینا این شکنجهگرشون رو گرفتن میخوان نمیدونم بکشنش ولی در این حال بیرن بچه‌ش هم میبرن بیمارستان.
And the friend said, well, it is funny because they got this guy who was their torturer, but at the same time they're taking his family to the hospital to help the family.
این اون نگاه انسانیه که توی مردم ایران واقعا وجود داره.
And this is that humanistic look that is very alive in the people of Iran.
همینا اگه جای تو ایران فیلمو نشون بدی شاید هیچکی به این صحنه نخنده، اینقدر عادی و طبیعی هستش.
If we screen this film in Iran, perhaps no one would laugh because this is very natural for people.
یعنی من میخوام بگم که میشه این فیلم رو به عنوان سندی از مردم و نگاهی به خشونت حاکمیت دونستش.
So you can think of this film as a document of people's non-violence and the government's violence.
Kauthar, I want to jump over to you because your film, The Voice of Hind Rajab, also deals with either, you know, Jafar's film deals with the aftermath of repression. Your film deals with the actual, like right in the middle of a violent conflict and finds this incredibly tiny human story, tiny human being, tiny human story that tells you so much about the bigger effect of what's going on. First of all, welcome back because we've done this panel a couple of years ago with your film, Four Daughters. And this unusual style that you have of mixing documentary with fiction to get at some deeper truth, I think, is really wonderful. Can you talk a little bit about what, first of all, what have been the reactions to the film that you've gotten? Because, you know, there was a lot of discussion around it when it came out in Venice, and it's very politically charged, but I don't know if that was what you'd hoped or not hoped for.
I mean, this movie started when I heard the voice of Hind Rajab. It was a small extract on internet, and her voice moved me, and when you hear it, you can't unhear it. Because it's a little girl, she's not even 6, she's 5 years old, and she is trapped in this car, surrounded by the dead body of her family, just killed by the Israeli army, and she is the only survivor, and she have a phone. So her voice was recorded by the Palestinian Red Crescent, who were on the other end of the line, trying to send an ambulance to this besieged place, but also trying to speak with her to calm her. And the small extract I heard in the beginning, it was on social media, published by the Red Crescent, the Palestinian Red Crescent. I had this impression that she was talking to me, like she wanted to be saved, save me. And it's so, how to say, when I heard her voice, I keep going back to this moment, you know, the beginning of everything. I had this strong emotion of anger, sadness, and helplessness. We live in a world where a child is begging for life, and you can't even send an ambulance. And when you send an ambulance, I'm talking about the Red Crescent, the ambulance is bombed. So I needed to tell this story because her voice was on social media, and because social media are not a place for remembrance. It's a place for scrolling. It's a place for amnesia. And I told myself, you know, I need to tell this story, but this story is so, it's an open wound. It's a story that can tell something about what is happening in Gaza. And my main job as a filmmaker was how to tell this story in the most impactful way, because it impacted me, and in the most respectful way, because it's an ongoing genocide, and how you talk about this, how you portray it in a movie. So the main idea was to stay with those who listened to this voice. Like the recording of her voice, it's a document, it's an archival document. And to go back to your question of hybrid, you know, element, I needed that voice and this document to be the backbone of the movie, because you have everything in this recording, but I needed also to go back to this moment and to do a movie in the present tense where saving her was possible. I couldn't do a documentary like about an event in the past. Also because the murder of Hind Rajab was happening every day. After, you know, I was thinking that it will be the tipping point of this genocide. It wasn't. Like horror kept going on. So I needed to do this movie in the present tense. And when you ask the tools of cinema how you tell this story in the present tense when you don't have enough archive of that moment, you bring actor. So they can be vessels to the real person who listened on the phone. And then you have this distance, you know, those who listened and those who listened to those who listened. So you have like what happened, but also what it means. And the meaning is very important in this story. So this is why I needed the hybrid form, because telling this story only as a documentary wasn't enough for me.
I mean, what's really fascinating to me is just that one voice as being your point of departure for a whole narrative around it, and then creating all these characters in the Red Crescent office in Ramallah or whatever, which is miles and miles away from Gaza. And what's also striking to me about the film is all of the things that you don't see. You're not in Gaza. You're stuck in this little cubicle office, really, and you're just watching these people essentially spin out, and as they are traumatized by what they are living through, trying to save this little girl. Could you just talk about that for a moment? Just using the power of, it's almost like the shark, you know, in Jaws, beneath the waters is like Steven Spielberg isn't showing you the shark. You're not seeing the war itself. You're hearing only this one little girl and seeing all of these people far away reacting. It's very powerful.
Thank you. You know, we live in a paradoxal situation because for what is happening in Gaza, Gazan people are filming themselves being killed, and they are putting those images on social media. So we have a lot of unfiltered images where we don't know the context, we don't understand, because Gazans don't have the power, you know, of mainstream media to tell their story. They don't have PR, they don't have all this machine, you know, that we know in the Western country. So you have all those images on internet, and there is a kind of people are being what is the English word? Desensitized, you know. Yeah, exactly. They don't
desensitized.
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking how to say again what is happening, because the story of Hind Rajab was investigated by the Washington Post, was investigated by the forensic architect. So you have the proof, you know, of the killing, which tank, which weapon, where the Israeli. So everything is on internet, you know. So what cinema can do when you have all those images? And I was thinking that cinema can do something very powerful that social media can do, that breaking news and media can do, which is empathy, which is staying in dark room, listening to this voice. And what I like, me in general, in cinema, when the sound is saying something and the image is adding something, not saying the same thing. And when I heard the first time this recording, it was full of images. We have the voice of this little girl. She's describing where she is in this car. Sarah, her cousin, is next to her. She's sleeping. No, she's not sleeping. My family is dead. They are bodies. So we have tanks. She's speaking about the tanks, shooting at her. So the sound, and this film was born from sound, not like my other movies. In general, it started with an image. The sound was, for me, very, very powerful. And if you remember in the movie, there is no graphic images. There is not a single drop of blood. And I'm one of those filmmakers who don't, like, I'm not excited by the filming the violence, like the gun and all this and the blood. And I'm more interested, and if you see my previous movie also, in this kind of silent violence, this systemic violence. And in this story, when I learned that there is an ambulance 8 minutes away from this little girl trapped in this car, the first question you ask yourself as a normal person, why don't you send the ambulance? And then you discover all this machine of bureaucracy imposed by the Israeli on the Palestinian, that if they don't follow this procedure, they will bomb their ambulance. So this is the moral dilemma of someone like Mahdi, who's the guy in the Red Crescent responsible for sending his teams to rescue people. He needs to have the approval of the Israeli army. He needs to go through a lot of administration, intermediary. And this is, for me, the silent violence, the violence of law, like it's imposed on you. You can't save this girl unless you have our approval. And to have our approval, you should go through all this process. And that's why I think the movie is... people are afraid to watch it, or when they watch it, they are very touched, because beyond the violence, beyond the corpse we see on social media, there is, the systemic violence that nobody talk about it because it's not spectacular.
Yeah, thank you. I think also the power of the film is being able to take an extremely, extremely complicated conflict that's taking place in an urban area. It's not taking place on a battlefield where two armies are lined up against each other. You have an embedded group that is,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
Palestinians don't have an army and don't have a state even. They have nothing, so.
right, but well, they did have hostages at that time too. So there's people who are being held in tunnels. So it's complicated, right?
Is
It's
it
not
the fact that they have hostages explain why they killed Hind Rajab?
No, I'm not a no. But it's the complexities of war is my point, that it's a very complex situation, and you find in this film a way of bringing a really simple clarity to what happens in this kind of a situation. So that's, I think, very hard. It's hard to do, but you found it in that recording. Oliver, let me come to you because we were talking about sound and using sound, and Sirat, which is an extraordinary film, is nominated both for Best International Feature and for Best Sound. And if you've seen the film, if you're lucky enough to have seen the film, because it wasn't that easy to see the film, you'll know why he's nominated for Best Sound, or the film is nominated for Best Sound. It's really, I was telling Oliver, I was lucky enough to see the film at the first press screening at the Cannes Film Festival. And it was like, I think it was 8 o'clock in the morning was one of those. And if you've seen the film, like, you are not prepared at all for what you are experiencing. And I think we were all, the press who showed up, and of course everybody gets up and stands in line and rushes like, you know, they're giving out free Mercedes or something. That's how Cannes is always. And you have to be there. We were all just standing kind of dumbfounded on the sidewalk after the screening, just trying to process what we'd seen. And there's so much going on in your film. It's so, I think, unexpected. There's something about it that feels very dangerous and almost like mesmerizing when you're watching it. Can you just talk a little bit about, as I understand it, this started as a different kind of story, and then you developed it over many years into a story that starts at a rave in this desert, in this, I'll say, a developing country where there's political instability happening, and this crazy band of misfit people who you found to make it. So tell us a little bit about how the story came about and why.
Thank you. I'm this kind of filmmaker who thinks that the ontology of cinema are not stories, are images. You know, what is happening here on a theater like this is something really mysterious, the relation between images and the body of the people. So that was first. Obviously, my film has a story. There is a script writing process. We were writing a script 10 years, but it's a script of 50 pages. Less pages, more cinema. So first and foremost, what we wanted to do is a ceremony. We wanted to invite people to a catharsis. This is a place for transformation. That was our political issue, you know, to invite people to die watching the film.
To invite people to die?
To die. Did you die watching Sirat? Yes, because we have to die before dying. So that was the intention we had first, because we have to. It's time as my colleagues, you know, they are coming from Iran, from Tunisia. You were doing a film in Palestine, you know. I mean, we are living on a moment where we are surrounded by a lot of pain, you know. And if we want to be more free, if we want to transcend this level of fears that we have today, it's important to embrace death, you know, to experiment it. And cinema is a tool that we have to, I think, to heal. And that was the story.
Your aim
of
is...
my film.
Talk a little bit more about that when you say healing, because it's a very... as I said to you before we came to the panel, I feel like watching the film is living through an experience rather than watching a film.
Yeah, it is a mirror. You know, it's a mirror, and you are confronted to yourself. You know, I think this is the mystery of existence. You know, that sometimes through pain, you know, you have more, you receive more light and love, or through death you feel more alive. You know, you have a deepest dialogue with life. You know, I'm happy. I'm happy that the film is really radical, but it's been really popular. It's people connect because we are evoking really transcendental things: the death, the life, the family. After, I don't like to interpret my film. Everybody can feel different things, you know.
Well, could talk a little bit about this cast, because this is a completely unprofessional cast.
Mm-hmm.
They were not actors before.
There is only one actor, the father.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because we like people. Obviously, actors are people too.
I think so.
And we love them. The thing is that sometimes actors, they hide fragility, as we do, most of people in society, you know. All of us, we are psychologically broken, we'll say, technically broken, but we hide this wound. We have a kind of neurotical projection of ourselves, you know. But why I wanted to work with these real ravers is because they have this vulnerability. They show the wound, they show the scar. And that, I think, is something that we have to do, most of us. We have to celebrate more the wound, we have to dance the wound. And
were you sure they were going to be able to do what you needed them to do?
I was really afraid. I was really afraid of this. I mean, I think art, most of us, right, my colleagues, they will tell us, I mean, there is not a creative process without fears. The key thing is that the fears don't block you. To have fears is normal. The thing is to keep going with them, you know. So no, I was a really technique shooting, you know. I remember the financiers, they were saying to us, are you sure you want to make special effects scenes, action scenes with non-professional actors?
Where things blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was, but we were really calm because, I mean, obviously we have fears of failure, but at some point we know that art is about taking risk, you know, and so
did the filming go as you expected?
Yes.
In the desert, yeah.
Yes.
It did.
It did, yes. And why I'm really happy and satisfied, it's that our intuitions about a spectator sensibility were good. I think that this ambiguity that the film has, this sensoriality that the film has, show us that, you know, that people are more sensitive that we think in general in cinema, you know. We are on a moment really fragile because there are a lot of influences from the series, from the television to cinema, you know.
Do you think we're fragile because of what we watch on television?
Sorry, say it again.
I'm not sure I understood. Say it again.
It's a fragile moment
it
because
is very.
Cinema is being influenced by series.
Yes.
You know, and it's hard to find films that has images alive. You know, images that you know, that penetrates you. You know, and so I'm happy to be part of this bunch of radical
the
filmmakers.
films on this panel are just unbelievable. Can you, before I move on to Olivier, I want to ask, the word Sirat, the title, I looked it up, it's something about the path from hell to paradise. I'm not sure I understand. If I have that right, I don't know.
You don't have to understand, just listen.
Yeah, I'm a journalist. We're terrible that way.
No, but it's not a joke. It's not a joke. You know, sometimes through feelings we understand things. Sirat, No, it has musicality. You know, it has Sirat. I mean, it's not a joke. I'm not being ironic. You know, I truly believe that sometimes we have to stop this artists. You know, we are putting too much mind in everything, and we kill images. We are the worst enemies of our work, and I think this is the particularity of Sirat. You know, that at some point, through a shock therapy, we suspend this, and at some point, the spectator is watching the film with the body, and the body knows what the mind sometimes doesn't know.
Olivier, you are the editor of Sentimental Value.
Yes.
Which has 9 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Acting nominations, Best Editing, Best Screenplay, and won the grand prize in Cannes. And it's kind of a, compared to some of the stories that we're talking about here, it's kind of a smaller story. It's a family story. It's an intimate story.
That's a big story too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Growing up in a dysfunctional family is a very personal story as well, and can be equally strong and damaging in long terms for the psychic of someone as receiving bombs on your head.
Different kind of bombs, yes. So I read that you have been friends with Joachim Trier for like 30 years?
Yes. We met just before film school in the mid-90s, and we've been working together since.
So what is that like when he comes to you? He's going to automatically come to you with his next project,
I hope so.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you've edited all his films?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to...
And his short film, except for the one that won a lot of prizes.
Okay. What is that interaction like? Like, what is the interaction between you and I gather Eskil Vogt? I'm going to say his name wrong.
Eskil Vogt, the scriptwriter.
Yeah. So you're all close friends, or?
Yes. I mean, they live in Norway. I live in Copenhagen. I live in Denmark.
Okay.
So it's
completely different. Oh yeah.
So they are more together than I'm together with them.
Got it.
I'm only together with them when we work, but I'm in close contact with Joachim. We speak at least once a week, and yeah, we're both professional friends and personal friends. And
but he called you up, and how did he describe this film when he called you up and he said, "Okay, I've got my next project and let's go"?
He started mentioning the film actually as we were just ending the editing of the previous one that we did together, and we were just watching a scene with several female actresses, and Renate Reinsvig, the main actress, Nora plays Nora in the film, was in that scene, and he said to me, "Would it be cool to make a film with 3 daughters and a father as the next one?" And I said, "Yeah, that sounds great." And then I didn't hear about this project for 2 years, and then he came back, and then it had become 2 daughters and a father, and a sort of daughter,
surrogate daughter,
Rachel's
yeah.
character is like a weird maybe substitute daughter for the 3rd daughter that disappeared in the script process.
Well, have you been surprised at how deeply
in the script writing process?
This one is the ones that disappear on a rave. The 3rd one.
The what?
It's a joke.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
She went to Morocco. Yeah. I was just asking if you were surprised at how the film has really resonated so deeply. I mean, it is in Norwegian, not that we don't read subtitles, but Americans really hardly read subtitles. We're getting more used to it. But, I mean, it has had such an incredible kind of visibility. Like, it really has touched people. Did it surprise you?
I'm glad it did. I mean, it's terrible to sit and say it's to defend that it's in Norwegian. I'm not Norwegian. I'm Danish, but I understand Norwegian. I understand what the language that they speak, and I cut it. Blah blah blah. But it's sad to sit and say and like put myself down and say, oh, it's amazing that a Norwegian film is doing. I think thematically it's a strong film, whether it was in Brazilian or in Norwegian or in English. I think that's why it resonates with people, because it's a strong film thematically, and between the story of the two daughters and the father and.
Did you ever talk about doing it in English? Everyone in that film speaks absolutely perfect English, including Elle Fanning, who's.
Did we talk about doing it in
doing it in English, just to give it more of a chance to, you know.
You have to ask Joachim.
Be seen. Yeah, I could ask Joachim that, but I mean, but there is something, of course, that is specifically culturally Norwegian about the interaction and the personalities and the characters.
Yes, it's I mean, some of the themes of not being as present as a father is transnational.
Yes.
The reactions, but of course it's kept in a very Scandinavian tone. The setting of the house is you will have to ask Norwegians in details about the house, but the house is a very special traditional Norwegian house. So yes.
What conversations did you have about editing the film with Joachim? Sort of the choices that you were making creatively, and how you. I presume you're very close, so that you can really tell him what you think about something.
I'm trying to think. I mean, we have ongoing discussions all the time. It's somebody asked me the other day, did you see some films that you were influenced by when you were making this film? And I said no, because that happened a long time ago when we were in film school. Then we were watching, of course, a lot of films and got influenced by that. And then we were look at them, say, oh, that could be interesting to do something thematically like this, or an ensemble cast like this. But that's in the past now. That's inside of us. So now we have some sort of and artistic interest. There's like themes and ways of doing things that are just the way we like doing it. And there are many different styles of editing in this film. There are some scenes that are super classical, just 2 full shots and 2 close-ups. When the father is presenting the script for Nora, that's most conventional shooting you can imagine. And then there's scenes that are more French New Wave-like scenes when they're in the bed and kissing around with jump cuts and jazz music. That's like, it almost feels like another film language. And then there's a montage, which I don't know where it comes from. It's like a weird amalgam of different styles and interests.
That's amazing that you felt that comfort level that you could
and that's
use
not,
those different
that's
styles.
not particularly planned, that how that scene should be edited when they're in the bed. I mean, of course it's shot in a certain way, but we don't have like it's not like I want that cut in that way. It's a moving animal that you shape, or not an animal, a piece of marble that you refine,
Creature of some kind,
that you cut down, that you.
Yeah, and you were working on the editing during the filming, or only after the filming was done?
No, I think for insurance purposes you have to do it from the beginning. There has to be someone checking that it's not out of focus the whole shoot. So I start 3 days after, a week after they start shooting.
I love this phrase that I saw about the film, thematically, that it's about inherited grief.
It's
about inherited grief.
Yes.
Grief that's handed down.
Yes.
I thought that was kind of a lovely.
That's a big part of the story.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Olivier, Oliver. Oh gosh. Gabrielle. Okay.
Hi. Hello.
You're sitting right next to me. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being patient to come to speak about The Secret Agent, which has, I'll just say, 4 Oscar nominations. Congratulations. Best Picture, Best Actor, Best International Feature, and Best Casting. You're one of the inaugural nominees for Best Casting. So please, like on behalf of the film, because I know you'll talk with Steve in a bit about the casting process specifically, but let's talk about what the film, putting it together, was it difficult? Was it emotional? You have all these incredibly indelible, really striking characters, from not just Wagner Moura's character, but the old lady who takes him in, and this couple from Africa who are refugees of a kind. I mean, this is a very, all of these characters are so sharply defined, it seems like. Talk a little bit about the kind of underlying things that you spoke about with Kleber as you're making the film.
Okay. Well, I guess that The Secret Agent and Kleber's work, and you can see it in previously movies of him, like in Aquarius, his movie with Sonia Braga. There is a kind of a structure of a movie that has this central figure and is surrounded by characters that are very different between like each other, but they all create I don't know, an idea of a world and society. And in the case of The Secret Agent, we were working on a very nice script full of textures and livid colors and vibrant characters, and they all mean something. Like I guess that in Kleber's scenes, there's always some social commentary about Brazilian cultural and social life and contradictions that I don't know, that I think that now, because of this is the first year of the casting category on the Oscars, and I am always talking about what is casting and what is the scope of the work, and I guess that during the process of casting Secret Agent, we could create lots of levels of complexity to these characters, so they get even more meaningful, each of them, like very differently, very lively, and very deeply, I guess. And I feel very satisfied when, well, with the nomination, of course, because I think that it got where we wanted it to be, like this full mosaic of Brazilian images and faces and bodies and expressions. And in the 70s, well, Brazil was under this dictatorship, and recently we had a very terrible government. So there were some characters that were inspired by some images of Brazilian political life, like the
current political life, you mean?
Like the recent political
yes,
life.
not from the 70s.
Yes, exactly. Because it was so caricatural and sometimes grotesque that there are some characters that we worked using this like ground of thinking about them to create this I don't know, ambiguity there is an ambiguity on some characters, right?
I mean, this is not the first film that has come from Brazil that harkens back to this time of dictatorship.
Yes, but it's interesting because there is a tradition of movies, Brazilian movies, and even Latin American movies about the dictatorship, and sometimes I think that there are some images that get a little bit usual in a way, like torture images and violent images. And The Secret Agent, there is this heavy atmosphere of people undercover and people being persecuted by, I don't know, in many ways there are a distribution of a violent environment in The Secret Agent. But there is also maybe, which I find interesting about the movie, is that there is also some courage that the characters have and some vibrant aspects that the characters have, because they are like Tânia Maria, the old lady that you mentioned. She's like a woman that's hiding people in her house, but she's so charismatic. And even the characters that are repulsive and
the assassins, you mean?
The assassins, and because there's the father, the industrial from São Paulo, and his son that hire the two killers from Rio de Janeiro that goes to Recife and hire a specific person to kill Armando. So all of them, during the casting process, there was some meanings that we tried to create in their embodiment of the character, like creating a body for the characters, right?
I mean, it is notable. I mean, look, we are at a moment in time that is very uncertain for the world, and it's a very scary time in this country that's supposed to be the most stable country that there is, and the most powerful and the richest. And I don't think there's a thinking person in this country who's not worried about the future of this country. And the stories that all of you bring, they just cut to the heart of, I think, really truth-telling through your art in a way that is so important and so necessary today. So I could very happily speak with you guys for another hour. Every one of your films is worth a full-on discussion, and we don't really have time for a lot more than that, but I am really so moved by all the work that you've done. I feel so privileged that I got to speak to you. Jafar, I hope that you will be safe. I don't know if you're planning to go back to Iran. Are you planning to go back to Iran? When I asked you in Toronto, you said you were, but since then you've had another jail sentence. So.
بعد از همین محکومیتی که گفتین، من توی فکر کنم فستیوال مراکش بودم. اونجا هم همین صحبتی کردن، اون موقع هم گفتم، الانم میگم، به محض اینکه کمپین اسکار تموم بشه برمیگردم ایران.
After I received that sentence, I was at Morocco Film Festival. As I said there, and I said after, as soon as the campaign is done here, I will return to Iran.
And you feel still today the same?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Well, then I doubly wish you safety and care. Take good care. None of the, the Oscars are important, but they absolutely pale in importance next to the safety and the ability of all of you filmmakers to continue telling your story. So thank you all for being here, and God bless everybody, and thank you for your films, most of all.
Thank you.
Thank you.